Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Feminine Energy Motivation channel. I want to welcome you to the topic that we're going to discuss today. Today's title is Embracing Feminine Leadership, Empowering Women to Lead with Grace and Strength, and the importance of that. And I feel that this is a topic that many women struggle with, including myself, being a CEO of my companies and struggling with that and femininity and how to balance the two, what that means. Just because you are feminine doesn't mean you have to give up your leadership qualities. If anything, it actually embraces leadership qualities. So because there's a misconception and misunderstanding of the topic, I'm going to discuss that here today. So, first of all, we want to make sure that we celebrate the power of feminine leadership and that we empower women to step into their full potential. In today's video, we're going to explore the concepts of embracing feminine leadership, encouraging women to step into the leadership roles while embracing their feminine qualities. As women, we have unique strengths and qualities that make us natural leaders. It's time we embrace these qualities and lead with authenticity and grace. So before we dive into the details of this video, I did want to share with you guys that there will be a lot more topics coming up in future videos. So I highly encourage, if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to this channel. And you'll be notified if you hit that bell icon and hit all notifications. It will give you notifications whenever I post videos in here. You can always come back to my channel as well and see what else is new. If you don't want to get those annoying little alerts, I totally understand. Some topics we'll be discussing in the future is we will go into more details about understanding what feminine energy really is. We're going to explore the essence of that feminine energy and its role in relationships and personal growth. We'll also be talking about embracing self-care practices, so the importance of self-care techniques for nurturing the mind, body, and soul. We'll also be talking about cultivating confidence. I'll give you some strategies for building self-confidence and self-assurance to help radiate that feminine charm and presence that we all have. I'll also be helping with clarifying how to unleash sensuality. We're going to give you tips for tapping into and expressing your own sensuality in a confident and empowered manner. We'll also be talking about styling and fashion, also nurturing relationships, and balancing femininity and strength, what that means. We're going to talk about communication and connection as it relates to feminine energy, techniques for how to do the communication effectively and how to build those connections effectively, and deepening those emotional connections with others. We're also going to dive into developing emotional intelligence, embracing vulnerabilities, honoring our own intuition, setting boundaries. I talked a little bit about setting boundaries in a previous episode 1, I believe, so definitely feel free to take a look at that video if you haven't already. We'll also be diving into enhancing self-expression, practicing gratitude, how important that is. Gratitude is one of the most important things, I think, aside from confidence and embracing your own joyfulness and childlike nature inside of us, right? But gratitude is important. Mindset of gratitude and appreciation for the beauty and abundance in life, right? The beauty and abundance in ourselves, the beauty and abundance in our friends, our family, and our environments, so on and so forth. And how to appreciate those things really will enhance that feminine energy inside of us. And today's topic, which is what we're going to dive into, is embracing feminine leadership. So those topics are just a foundation for empowering women to embrace their femininity and ultimately cultivate that self-confidence and thrive in all aspects of our lives. So let's talk about embracing feminine leadership. Let's dive in. All right, so what exactly does it mean to embrace our feminine leadership? Essentially, this encourages us women to step into leadership roles while we're honoring and embracing our feminine qualities. So some details around that would be reframing what leadership is, encouraging women to essentially redefine traditional notions of leadership to help us in encompassing those feminine traits, What are those feminine traits, right? So those traits are things like empathy, intuition, collaboration, and even nurturing. That's very important, especially for feminine energy, is to be very nurturing. Highlighting that essentially leadership is not solely about assertiveness or dominance, but it's also about compassion, empathy, and inclusivity. Okay, accepting of everyone, having compassion for others, having empathy for others. But in the process of that, we also need to take care of ourselves, right? And I'll dive into that in a little bit. But the other thing that embracing feminine leadership means is authenticity and vulnerability, right? This is emphasizing the importance of authenticity and vulnerability in what that means to be a leader, encouraging women to essentially embrace their true selves and share their vulnerabilities as strengths rather than weaknesses, fostering that trust and connection. Okay. Whether it's at work, at home, it doesn't matter, right? It's really just fostering that vulnerability as a strength and knowing that we need to connect with our family members, our friends, our teammates at work, our coworkers, our leaders, etc. Okay. The other one, important quality of a leadership in feminine energy, anyways, is strength and sensitivity, understanding that there is strength in that, right? We want to be able to challenge the stereotype that sensitivity is a weakness. It's not. And instead, we want to highlight the strength and power in the feminine qualities, such as that empathy, right, that we talked about, that emotional intelligence, and something that I believe is so incredibly powerful that I think we don't know a whole lot about it, but we know it's there, and that's intuition. Our intuition is so strong. It's a God-given gift that we've been given that we need to tap into. Okay. We need to demonstrate how these kinds of qualities can actually enhance our leadership effectiveness, right? So it helps us in fostering that understanding and cooperation and innovation, even in the workplace, even at home, okay? Now, another interesting aspect of leadership and feminine energy is balancing yin and yang. I know this is an interesting one, right? But this is something that helps in encouraging women to find a balance between that feminine and masculine energies in a leadership role. Leadership in, like I said, a household, leadership in your career, leadership in whatever it is that you're doing in your life. Understand that there are both feminine and masculine energies in leadership, and balancing the two is going to be important. And that's where you also kind of listen to yourself, listen to your body, listen to your intuition and where it guides you. So balancing that yin and yang with masculine and those feminine energies in leadership, while we also recognize that both are valuable and absolutely necessary for success. It also helps in embracing feminine qualities that it doesn't necessarily mean rejecting masculine traits, but rather integrating both to create a harmonious leadership style. Okay. Another thing that we're going to talk about is collaborative leadership. So what does that mean? It's promoting a collaborative leadership approach that values input from all members, whether it's in your team, your family, your team at work, your leaders, your direct reports, all team members, as well as in the household, your children, your husband, your mother or father if they live with you, right? If you're caring for somebody in your home, whoever, right? Anybody that you interact with, it's understanding that there is a leadership role in feminine energy that really is just collaborative. We want to create inclusive and supportive environments where everyone's voices are heard and respected. That's the essence of feminine energy, right? And I talked about that, right? Which is compassion, leading with compassion. We want to encourage women to lead with compassion and empathy and kindness. That doesn't mean be a doormat. Feminine energy does not mean be a doormat. That does not mean that you allow everyone to walk all over you and treat you however they want. That goes back into boundaries, establishing boundaries, knowing what those boundaries are, and if you need to, communicate them with the people in your life so that they understand where you're at, but doing so in a very loving and kind and empathetic and compassionate way, understanding where they're coming from as much as possible. That doesn't mean allowing people to treat you however they desire. And if you need to, remove yourself. Remove yourself from those environments, from those people, from those situations. Understanding where your boundaries are. Knowing when to say enough is enough, and knowing when to walk away. Knowing when to go home. Okay? So we definitely want to encourage women to lead with compassion, empathy, and kindness. These qualities can inspire and motivate everybody in your family. And it can foster a positive, even work culture. And even drive organizational success. There's a lot of things that leading with compassion can help you with. Okay. Another interesting topic that I've talked about before in a previous episode, which is confidence, cultivating that confidence. We are, have a responsibility to give women strategies for how to cultivate confidence in their leadership abilities. This can be things like self-affirmation, positive self-talk, and seeking mentorship and support from other female leaders. Okay? We also want to be able to navigate some challenges that we're going to face. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Challenges will always be there. They'll always present themselves. But how are we going to navigate those waters? Right? Addressing common challenges and obstacles that women might face in leadership roles, such as gender bias, imposter syndrome, and work-life balance issues. Right? So offering strategies for overcoming those challenges and thriving as leaders. Okay? We also want to keep inspiring role models in our life at the forefront, right? Instead of following, for example, people on, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, etc., that aren't really inspiring. They aren't really adding value to your life. I highly recommend you revisit, those channels, those subscriptions, those things that are not really creating an inspiration in you, but rather bringing you down, and how it's bringing you down, psychologically speaking, looking at things or reading things or seeing things on your feed, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, it doesn't matter where, but whatever you're feeding into your subconscious that you don't realize is there. If you're looking at things or seeing things or hearing things that are not positive and not adding or inspiring you, and aren't really good role models for your life, I highly recommend you unfollow. I highly recommend that you find other role models that are inspiring, right? We want to highlight successful female leaders, for example, who exemplify feminine leadership qualities and actually serve as, in their community, as inspirational role models. So sharing their stories and insights to inspire and empower other women to embrace their own unique leadership styles, right? And this feeds into the last topic, which is creating impact. We need to empower women to use their leadership positions to create positive change and make a difference in their organizations, communities, and the world. Right? Encouraging these women to lead with purpose, to lead with passion, and to lead with vision to create a brighter future for themselves and those around them. Okay? Overall, embracing feminine leadership really encourages women to embrace their innate strengths and qualities as leaders, leading with authenticity, compassion, and courage, and honesty, integrity, all of these things to create a really positive impact and to also inspire others. And believe me, if you do these things, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to look to you as a role model. All right? Okay, so we're going to give you some examples on how to do these things now. We're going to dive into each one that I just talked about. For reference, there were 10 of them. So when we talk about leading with empathy, what does that mean, right? Let's give an example of a female CEO. All right, a female CEO prioritizing understanding the needs and the concerns of her employees by regularly checking in. What does regularly mean? I don't know, it depends. It depends on the environment you're in. Is it bi-weekly? Is it bi-monthly? Is it quarterly? Is it every week? Is it every day? I don't know, right? It really depends on the kind of environment you're in. But an example would be a female CEO. She always prioritizes understanding the needs and the concerns of her employees by doing that on a regular level, on a personal level. Okay? Creating a supportive work environment where open communication and empathy are valued, not looked down upon, no matter how hard it may be to hear the truth. Even if they're telling you something that you haven't heard yet and you're upset about, or you might get upset about, really just having empathy and allowing for that safe space to have open communication and to be trusting with you and to share with you. Because believe me, when people are closed off, the less you know, the more it'll hurt not only your career, but it'll also hurt the company. It could hurt your department. It could hurt all kinds of things. Okay. So creating a supportive work environment where that open communication, open door policy, empathy is so important, compassion, right? All of those things will lead to more increased morale and even productivity, believe it or not. Because people feel safe around you. They feel safe that you're going to keep, whatever information that is shared with you, not only private if necessary, right? There's some things we cannot keep private, such as somebody, communicating some sort of, sexual harassment or anything else, of course, right? There's limitations to that. And I encourage you that if you do experience a situation like that, definitely seek legal counsel, maybe reach out to HR, etc., right? But you get my point. It's really just creating that supportive work environment where people feel confident and comfortable in being able to share with you because they know that they can confide in you and that you will listen proactively. And what do I mean by listening proactively? It's not only just listening, but truly hearing the person, having compassion, helping to help, like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I can see how that bothers you. I can see how you're worried or concerned about that. And if it's something about you personally, right? Sometimes we need to make improvements. Is there anything that I can do better to support you? Those are positive and beautiful qualities in a leadership style in anybody, really. It doesn't matter if you're a masculine, feminine, male or female, it doesn't matter. But just having that compassionate heart to really listen and doing so proactively, leading with that compassionate heart, that empathy, and saying, how can I help you? How can I do better? How can I be better? Even though it might be hard to hear constructive criticism, sometimes we need to hear it to become better leaders. That's the truth and that's the reality of it. That doesn't mean later on taking it out on them for, feeling like, that they don't want you to succeed. No, quite frankly, you know what? I honor and respect you for being so vulnerable and honest with me right now and sharing with me, areas where I need to improve as well. So thank you. That actually helps me a lot. Those are the kinds of feedback that you can give when somebody has something that they need to share, whether it's about somebody that you hired, or maybe it's about you, or maybe it's about one of your leaders that you recently added to the team, whatever it may be, but really just creating that collaborative space. And I know I'm referencing a lot of career related stuff, but really you can incorporate this at home as well. Because believe it or not, a wife that is a stay-at-home wife raising the children and running a household and maybe even running businesses while you're at home, right? It's not easy. It's a full time and a half job, right? Because sometimes you're working more than 8 hours per day, especially if you have little ones, right? It's a more than full-time job. So understanding that running a successful household and how to do so successfully, really embracing those feminine leadership qualities is so important. Okay. The other thing is collaborative decision making, which is what we talked about, right? So a team leader encourages that collaboration and consensus building among the members of the team when making decisions, right? So valuing that diverse perspective and allowing others to really just share freely, and fostering an inclusive culture where everyone feels heard and respected. You don't have to necessarily make them feel understood, but if you do understand, communicating that, making them really feel heard and respected in their feedback. And what that does ultimately is it can result in innovative and effective solutions for the company, for you, for your team, for your household. Okay. All right. Now we're going to dive into embracing that vulnerability, right? So a department manager shares her own experiences of failure and setbacks during team meetings, demonstrating vulnerabilities and authenticity. This openness fosters a trust and even a connection among team members, encouraging them to take risks and learn from those mistakes. Learn from their own mistakes, learning from others' mistakes. Okay. All right, building relationships. A community organizer prioritizes building relationships and connections with stakeholders to drive that positive change. What does that mean? Right? It's taking the time to listen to the concerns of the community members, forging those partnerships with local organizations, and mobilizing collective action towards shared goals. How do you know what those shared goals are? Get out there and find out. Ask the right questions. Figure out what their goals are. See if they align with yours. Now you have shared goals. Okay? All right. We want to lead with compassion. So, a school principal shows compassion and understanding, for example, towards both students and staff members. Right? She can create a nurturing and supportive school environment where everyone feels valued and supported, leading to that improved academic performance and well-being of everyone attending, whether they are a student, a teacher, so on and so even janitorial, cafeteria, etc. Everyone just feeling that compassion and understanding towards everyone, towards the students, towards staff members. If they raise concerns, if they show up at a board meeting, if they, say, hey, can I meet with you, right? A school principal, for example, can show compassion and understanding towards them by creating a nurturing and supportive school environment where everyone feels valued, heard, and supported. All right. Next, we're going to talk about how someone can promote work-life balance, right? So a female executive can promote work-life balance by implementing flexible work policies and supporting employees' personal and family needs, right? She can recognize that employees perform best when they feel supported and valued both inside and outside of the workplace. That's that work-life balance. Okay. How do we foster growth and development? What's an example of that? So, a mentorship program coordinator empowers women in their organization to develop their leadership skills and advance in their careers. She can provide mentorship, coaching, and even networking opportunities to help women overcome barriers and reach their full potential, supporting each other. Your light doesn't get any dimmer if you light another candle, right? It's that meme that is circling around on social media, right? Empower each other. Don't go against each other. Support each other. Okay? You want to also lead by example, right? You can demonstrate integrity, resilience, and perseverance in the face of those challenges. Right? You can inspire your team members to strive for excellence and pursue their goals and passions and determination. Celebrating diversity. This is a very popular topic right now. Diversity and inclusion, right, champions diversity and celebrates the unique strengths and perspectives that each individual brings to the table. A feminine woman can foster an inclusive culture where everyone feels valued and respected, regardless of their background or identity. Embracing that about everybody. That is the true essence of feminine energy. And last but not least, creating a vision for the future. So a visionary leader inspires others, while a compelling vision it can actually have an impact on the future and a clear sense of purpose by communicating that vision with passion and enthusiasm that ultimately motivates others to work towards a shared goal and making a positive impact in their organization, community, or even at home. Okay. So now, to add to some of these examples, I'm going to give you some true stories about some women and how they managed each one. So the first one is how to lead with compassion. We have Sarah, who's a nurse manager at a busy hospital, She noticed that her team was feeling overwhelmed and burnt out due to the high patient load, right? So instead of simply delegating tasks, she took the time to listen to her team members' concerns and offered support and encouragement. She even organized regular team meetings to discuss challenges and brainstorm solutions together so everybody felt like they were contributing as well as being heard. So, through her compassionate leadership, Sarah was able to boost the morale and create a more supportive work environment, which led to improved patient care, believe it or not, and even employee satisfaction. Work-life balance, right? It kind of ties into that a little bit. All right. How to give a collaborative method for decision making. So I'm going to give the example of Rachel, who's a project manager at a tech company. Rachel faced a major decision about which direction to take a new product development project. And instead of making the decision herself, she invited her team members to participate in a collaborative decision-making process. She further encouraged open dialogue and brainstorming sessions, allowing everyone to contribute their ideas and perspectives by ultimately fostering that culture of collaboration and inclusivity, right? So she was able to make, believe it or not, more informed decisions that benefited the project and the company as a whole as a result of that. So collaborative decision making, Rachel really, she understood that there's an important piece here of fostering that sort of collaborative space so everybody's included, everybody feels heard, and she can ultimately make better decisions based off of some of that feedback that she received. It's incredibly valuable. It's a win-win. Everybody feels heard, everybody feels included, and you might not want to run with every single one of those ideas, and that's okay. And that's part of that, feminine leadership, where we do have to learn to be strong sometimes and say, hey, we're not going to go with that, idea. However, I do appreciate and value the fact that, you brought this to the table, and maybe we can discuss this at a further time or further date. We can incorporate your ideas or your thoughts or whatever it may be. But just right now, it just doesn't make sense for the company. It doesn't make sense for the business. It doesn't make sense for whatever it is, the household, etc. Right? A good example would also be with our children. Listening, especially if you have children that are of age where they can actually communicate their desires and their needs anywhere between 3 and above, where they can reasonably share their thoughts and ideas, even though sometimes it may seem silly, believe it or not. Our children are incredibly smart and they have feelings too, and they want to be heard too, right? So understanding that children can really add value if we just took the time to listen to them. It's that childlike nature that just, comes so brilliantly in all of these children. Okay, promoting a work-life balance. I'm going to talk about Maria. So Maria was a human resources director. She noticed that many of her employees were struggling to balance their work responsibilities and their personal lives. So she recognized the importance of work-life balance for employee well-being and ultimately productivity, right? So Maria implemented several initiatives to promote a healthier work-life balance. She started introducing flexible work arrangements such as telecommuting on certain days, and even flexible hours, and even encouraged managers to support employees' personal and family needs. So thanks to Maria's, leadership qualities, employees were actually reported feeling more supported and valued, which actually led to increased job satisfaction and retention rates. As we know, hiring, letting go, that's very expensive for a company. Training new people, it's an expensive process. Hiring recruiters to find, the proper fit of employees for your company, right, with the right skill sets, and going through the interview process, right, all of that, directly and indirectly can impact the bottom dollar for a company. Okay. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about Lisa as it relates to empowering others. So Lisa was a small business owner. She was passionate about empowering women in her community to pursue entrepreneurship, right? So she founded a mentorship program aimed at providing aspiring female entrepreneurs with the support and resources they needed to succeed. Lisa, however, personally mentored several women, offering guidance, advice, and encouragement as they launched and grew their businesses. Through her leadership, and mentorship, Lisa was able to empower countless women to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams and make a positive impact in their communities. What a beautiful way to really make a name for yourself, right? And you now have built your tribe. You have built your alliances as well. If you help others, believe me, they're going to want to help you. I've experienced this myself. I've freely helped others. I've also had people help me, and I'm excited to help them if they've helped me, especially, right? And I will bend over backwards. I'll do all kinds of things to try to help them as well because they've helped me, whatever that may be. It doesn't always have to be monetary. It could be even emotional support. It could be friendship. It could be all kinds of things, right? But just really feeling and helping other women feel empowered to pursue their dreams, whatever that may be for them, right? All right, diversity. We talked about this, right? So we're gonna give an example of Maya. She was a school principal. Maya was recognized, uh, she was recognizing, I should say, the importance of actually celebrating diversity and promoting inclusivity in her school. So, what she drove towards and implemented was there were several initiatives to help celebrate that cultural diversity and create a more inclusive school environment. So, what Maya decided to do was she organized cultural awareness events. She hired guest speakers, invited them, and even workshops to educate students and staff about different cultures and perspectives, really. Introducing, everyone to everyone's cultures. And she also established a diversity and inclusion committee comprised of several students, parents, and even staff members to promote that diversity and address any issues of discrimination or bias. So, thanks to Maya's efforts, the school became a more welcoming and inclusive place for students of all backgrounds. It makes other students and other children curious, children of all ages, including college students, right? It really, it's an innate, it's an innate instinct that comes in us to have that curiosity. And if we can drive that curiosity even further by not only filling in certain gaps, but also developing compassion for anybody and everybody around us, regardless of race, regardless of preferences and just backgrounds in general, right? Doesn't just have to be cultural. Okay. So I wanted to share these stories as examples because hopefully they help illustrate how women can embrace feminine leadership qualities to create a more positive change and also to inspire others in their communities and workplaces. I feel we have a responsibility to do that. No matter where we're at, who we're with, what time and place, through compassion and collaboration, empowerment, and even inclusivity. Many of these women, and I know there's some of you listening that are hearing this, you're one of these women that have made a lasting impact on the lives of those around you, right? Just like these women did. Okay, so I just wanted to share these things with you guys on how to embrace your feminine leadership. So I'm gonna finalize the video here, but I'm always here. You guys know how to reach me. You can reach me via email. I have my Instagram that I will post as well. Feel free to check out my Feminine Energy Motivation channel on Instagram as well, where you'll find some more inspiring reels and posts, etc. So to all the women out there, embrace your feminine leadership qualities, step into your power, and lead with grace and strength. Together, we can change the world. Thank you for listening. And for those of you watching, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more empowering content. And until next time, keep leading with heart and making a difference.